Okay, with the underage deal that I've offered for the gym recently, and a lot of under 18-year-olds, guys and girls joining, there's a lot of them have asked me how much my online program is to do for nutrition, and there's a couple of things surrounding that. First of all, none of them are working. A lot of them are like 14, 15, 16, and I just don't really think it's right that they have to, that they go away and buy a plan, because they don't need one. Their bodies are producing so much testosterone, hormones, growth hormone, and a lot of good stuff like that, that their bodies are going to respond really, really well to a decent training program. And once their nutrition is good and they're eating a lot of good foods and plenty of it. So I've decided to make this video to put the content out there so that the answers are there to a lot of the questions that I've been asked. Now, all the guys want to do is they would just want to get bigger, and a lot of the girls, they just want to tone up, and that's very achievable when you're that age. And Chris is sitting in with me for this video as well, and we're just going to expand on a couple of different topics to do with it, and just highlight the types of foods that they should be eating, and the ones that we would say that you would definitely want to be staying away from. The main thing really is having a consistent amount of times in a day where you eat. I mean, you know what it's like, when you're that age you can run on fresh air, but at the same time, if you structure it, you'll probably be the most uneconomical person in the house, because you're growing and your body's going to keep wanting more and wanting more and wanting more. So the number one thing is avoid heavily processed foods, deep fried foods, things with lots of sugar in it, and that goes for drinks as well. If you want to have fizzy drinks, have something with zero sugar in it. From a health point of view, are they good for you? Probably not. But from a growing and a weight loss point of view, the sugar, if you're a guy and you're struggling to put on size and you drink a can of real Red Bull, there's so much sugar in it that's gonna buy you so much more time until you actually get hungry to eat again. Whereas you could have had one or possibly even two meals in that time. And same for a girl, that sugar, if it's not burnt off, is just going to add to the fat cells that are there if it's not used. So what I suggest is that your breakfast, the most important meal of the day, a good solid breakfast like oats. You're quite fond of having eggs and rashers and stuff in the morning, aren't you?
Yeah, I even when I'm kind of growing, I tend to have probably more of a fat protein breakfast. I try and integrate some carbohydrates in it when I'm trying to put on weight.
Yeah.
But normally I will try and stay relatively carb free, purely just because I find that my morning is better, my energy levels seem a bit better.
Yeah, see, and this is the thing, like, to look at us, like, we're pretty similar in size, but we react differently to foods. And this is the thing, that if you're a guy or a girl and you've got to find out what type of body type you are. Are you someone that responds very well to carbohydrates, or are you someone that responds very well to fats? Like Chris said, he finds that he has a small bit more clarity if he doesn't have carbohydrates first thing in the morning. Whereas for me, if I don't have carbohydrates in the morning, my head falls off.
Yeah.
So it's about finding what suits and trialing both. So we would say that a good complex carbohydrate such as oats is great, and eggs, bacon, smoked salmon, any of those things would be good. Next thing, also as well, people that struggle to eat breakfast, and a lot of people on my online program do this as well, if they struggle to actually physically eat something in the morning, what I would do is I would get them to make a smoothie. And the smoothie that I use on there has 200 grams of Greek style yogurt, 100 or 150 grams of berries, and a scoop of protein powder. Blend that all up and drink it, and you're getting all your nutrients, you're getting a good protein source, and you're getting some nice fats from it as well. you know, you don't have to worry about having to actually sit down and eat something. It's done quickly. You can drink it. A lot of people have a cup of coffee in the morning anyway, or a cup of tea, or whatever the case is. So this is literally can be drank as quick as it. Next thing going on from that, like snack, I suppose, really in between that and lunch, but like having a decent. If you're a guy and you're looking to put on size, you'd be looking to eat every 2 to 2.5 hours, I would say, anyway, at that age. But it's not about having, you know, 6, 7 full meals in a day. So I would go with a snack mid-morning, but have it that it has nice amount of calories, but a kind of small quantity. So I think the peanut butter and corn cakes is quite a good one on that. What do you think?
Snacks wise,
yeah.
Obviously, it completely depends on the person and how they respond. I still think, I suppose you have to remember for a guy, if you want to put on a decent amount of weight and you want to grow at this age, you need to have your calories quite high. For a snack, I would probably lean towards a fat source, so something like nuts, and you know that's something that is pretty dense in calories. And you're probably not getting a lot of good fats in your diet. If you're like I was, and probably like you were, you think, oh, more food, and you either dirty bulk, which has got shit fats,
that your body
trans fats that your body can't use, or else you go for carbs. It's actually quite unlikely for people, unless they're in this sort of environment, to be eating quite a lot of good fats. So I would probably use that as a perfect time to integrate those in. On the flip side of the coin, for women who want to tone up, in the right quantity, these good fats are probably something that you're not having in your diet. And if you're going low carbohydrate, which you possibly are, then using fats as a fuel source, especially as a snack, is ideal as well. So for complete both sides of the coin, you know, I would go with some form of nuts, whether it's almonds, whether it's cashews, whether it's peanuts, something like that.
And they will be raw nuts, and they're not the salted ones.
Yeah.
So just to make sure that, because but a lot of people don't know. You know, a lot of people on my online program, when they see nuts on their plan, and they end up, you say, oh, is it dry roasted, or what can I have? And the thing is, no, they have to be raw and unsalted, because the salt that they use on the salted ones is table salt, and it's shit, and it fries your liver, and it's terrible. Yeah. So as you can see, my mindset is all about carbohydrates, and his mindset leans towards fats. So again, it's finding kind of what suits. But yes, very high in calories, nuts. Just even a handful of nuts contains a lot of calories. There's fruits. We can go with fruits. So with fruits, you've got like bananas, very high in carbohydrates, or you have the likes of avocados, which are quite high in fat then as well on the next side of it. To be honest, with a lot of teenagers, you can get away with eating so much stuff that it doesn't really matter, as long as it's not heavily processed and it's not absolute rubbish from a deli. You're probably going to burn it off as fuel, because your metabolisms are so fast. It's not like when you're dealing with someone that's going into their 20s and they've had a poor relationship with food since, you know, an early age, and their body is then conditioned to be in whatever state it is. You find it very hard, and that's when what we do is we use foods manipulated at certain times. But when you're in your teens, you're very susceptible to change. So there's absolutely no problem in either dropping a few pounds or putting weight on. No, obviously putting weight on is going to be harder than dropping a few pounds. It's a lot easier to lose body fat than it is to gain muscle. And both of us came from that background where it was, we were both really thin, and we struggled and worked really hard and ate. But the key factor to what we did was, and what we still do, is eat. And even up to recently, and Chris attested to this, while he was writing up his thesis, food obviously wasn't a priority, because you were so focused in your work, and he lost a lot of weight because of it. So now that he's back eating and back training properly again, his body's responding and growing. But it just goes to show you have to keep at it. You have to keep feeding yourself.
The one thing I would say, if you're out there and you're a guy in particular, and you want to put on size and you want to put on muscle, in one sentence, my advice is eat as much as you possibly can without going for shit trans fatty foods until you're putting on a pound of weight a week.
Yeah.
If you're not putting on a pound of weight a week, eat more. And you can't go wrong. Like, if you're not putting on a pound of weight a week, eating good foods, then eat more. And that's, if you want to simplify it down, and that's probably going to answer your question if you're a guy, and something that we probably kind of did on and off without really realizing it. But if you have enough good food, in my opinion, if you're not putting on a pound a week of body weight, then you can get away with eating more food as long as it's good food and you're staying away from trans fats. I think that, in one sentence, is kind of
pretty much
is a good direction. Obviously, the flip side of the coin then is if you're trying to tone up, like we said, it's even though it can be easier, there's probably a lot more parts to play in terms of that. There
is, just for any girls, I suppose, that want to tone up or lose, some body fat, exercise, cardio. Just tidy up your diet and do a nice bit of cardio, and it should literally just fall off you. The foods that I suppose the foods for main meals would be the complex carbohydrates that we would probably say we'd be happy with are sweet potato, brown rice, brown pasta, baby potato, and white rice at certain times. Again, it's all context and it's dependent, but meats, any meat source really. If you're weight training, try and have red meat after you've weight trained. Otherwise than that, good white meat, fish, and that's anything, I suppose, from tinned to fresh fish. No problem with that. And vegetables, favour green. Girls, if you suffer from bloating, be aware of some of the green vegetables, especially broccoli. It causes a lot of bloating in girls, or anybody with IBS suffers a lot from it as well, or leaky gut. So just be aware of that, and if you do flare up after a meal, or do flare up during the day, just kind of figure out, okay, what did I eat that day, write it down, and trial it again, and have it again, and just see what after which meal did it happen, and you'll start to find the triggers that were causing it. But anybody that wants to know more on it, it's just a short video that people can just click on and kind of get some sort of an idea of what's involved in it. But anyone who wants to know more, I'm more than happy to talk to you about it.
Yeah, where can they contact you? What's your email? Facebook, email?
Send me a direct message on Facebook, and I can expand on it a bit more from there. But as regards the plan is eat loads, keep it clean, and eat every 2 to 2.5 hours, and you will grow. And girls, limit your carbohydrates, do plenty of exercise, and stay away from rubbish food, and stay away from sugar and deep fried
and stay
food.
away from drink.
And stay away from drink, for God's sake, don't do it.
Women are the worst. From experience with clients, like more often than not, I think in this kind of, for who this is probably geared towards, women who are girls in particular, who are training pretty hard. They're eating relatively well for 4 days a week, and then they go on the piss Thursday night, Friday night, sometimes Saturday night, and then you're eating hangover food for the weekend, is really just going to throw you out of sync. So I think it's be a bit more aware of, drink is calories as well, and you're going to be dehydrated, and
also it's a shit energy source. And what happens is, and a lot of people don't know this, is when you start drinking alcohol and you put alcohol into your body, and your body sees it as a toxin and it wants to get rid of it, the normal process for energy for your body, it goes glucose, which is the sugar in your blood, glycogen, which is the energy source in your muscles, and then it burns body fat. So that would be the chain of events when you're exercising, and what it would use for energy. But when you have alcohol in your system, so this is why hangovers happen the following day, your body wants to get rid of the alcohol, so it puts it straight to the front of the queue and uses it as its energy source, and it's a shit one. So that's why when you're hungover, you behave like shit. So when you have alcohol in your system, you can't burn body fat, and it's just a shit energy source. And anyway, if you're watching this and you're under 18, you shouldn't be drinking in the first place.
That's it.
Yeah. So, okay, I hope this helps. We'll get it out there, and like I said, any queries, anything you want me to expand on more, just send me a message on Facebook.